You were not born for average. You were not created to simply exist, scroll, survive, and die. And yet, that's where so many of us are. Silent battles. Late night questions no one answers. A heart that once burned with purpose, now buried under lust, numbness, and 1,000 false connections. Young man, you were not made for this. You were made to love radically, to live with fire, to carry a weight so sacred the world wouldn't understand. But somewhere along the way, that vision faded. You chased relationships but never found connection. You looked for love but settled for attention. You tried to be strong but never learned to feel. But hear me now, there is a radical price that was paid for your soul. There is a radical love pursuing you, even now. And there is a radical life waiting, not in the comfort, not in the compromise, but in the calling. This is not about religion. It's not about performance. It's about waking up to who you really are. And it starts right here. There's a reason you feel this ache inside you, this question that won't leave you alone. Do I matter? Is there something more? Am I worth anything at all? You see, the world has trained you to measure your value by your performance. How much you make, how many women you've slept with, how shredded your body is, how cold you can be, how well you can fake strength while your soul is falling apart. But here's the truth that shatters all of it. You were already valued before you could ever perform, before you ever failed, before you even breathed. You were bought with blood, not with applause, not with validation, not with followers or fame or likes, with blood. God Himself, wrapped in flesh, nailed to a Roman cross, arms stretched wide, paid the price for you. You weren't cheap. You were never disposable. You weren't born to be another number, another addict, another man numbing his soul to survive in a broken world. You were born with worth that cannot be undone. But hear me, the blood wasn't spilled for the mask you wear, not for the confident version of you that hides behind sarcasm, not for the image you project when you're around people. It was for the real you, the insecure you, the angry you, the one still haunted by what happened when you were 10, the one still carrying father wounds, the one who can't stop watching porn, even though it leaves you empty every time. That you was the one He saw when He said, "Hey's worth it," and you think you're unworthy. Brother, your worth was proven by the cross, not just once, but forever. You don't have to earn it, you just have to receive it. Because the enemy's biggest weapon isn't lust, it's lies. He wants you to believe you're too far gone, that you're broken beyond repair, that your past disqualifies you, that the pain you carry is permanent. But the blood speaks a better word. It says you're redeemed. It says you're wanted. It says you're not defined by what you've done, but by what's been done for you. That's the radical price. That's the foundation. Not religion, not guilt, not behavior modification, but love so powerful, so unstoppable that it bled for you while you were still running. And now the only question left is, will you stop running? Because He already paid for you. The only thing left is for you to say yes. This world has lied to you about love. It told you that love is earned, that you have to chase it. Prove yourself. Be funny enough. Be alpha enough. Be successful enough. And maybe, just maybe, someone won't leave. Some of you have loved with your whole heart only to be ghosted. You've given your best only to be betrayed. And now your soul walks with a limp you've never admitted. You're not afraid of being alone. You're afraid of being seen and still left. So you build walls, you become cold. You hide behind sarcasm and swagger. Because if no one gets close, no one can break you again. But here's the truth, you were never designed to earn love. You were meant to receive it. And the love of God is radical. It's not like what you've seen. It doesn't need your A. It doesn't need your Instagram filter. It doesn't wait for you to clean up your act or fix your sin. It sees everything and still says, I choose you. Radical love says, I saw the worst of you and I stayed. I watched you fall again and again and I still came closer. I know what you did, and I'm not leaving. Do you understand how dangerous that kind of love is? Because once you let it in, truly, you stop chasing people who only want parts of you. You stop performing for approval. You stop asking, am I enough? Because love himself already answered, yes, you are mine. There is a reason you've never been satisfied by the attention, the hookups, the followers. It's because none of it was ever love. You were made for something deeper. Not a dopamine rush, but covenant. Not a one-night escape, but eternal embrace. This isn't soft. This isn't weak. This is warfare. Because letting yourself be loved by God will require the death of your pride. It'll shatter your performance. It'll wreck your ego. But in that breaking, you'll find the one thing every man is dying for: peace. So here's the question, will you keep chasing 1,000 false loves? Or will you stop running, fall to your knees, and let the real one love you back to life? You're not too broken. You're not too late. You're not too much. You're chosen. Every man walks with a limp, whether he admits it or not. Some limp in silence. Some cover it with pride. Some laugh through the pain. Others numb it with porn, success, sex, or sarcasm. But the wound is still there. That moment when something inside of you was cut. Maybe when your father didn't show up. Maybe when the woman you gave your heart to shattered it. Maybe when you cried out to God in your lowest moment and got silence in return. There's a wound behind the anger. There's a wound behind the lust. There's a wound behind the isolation. You're not hard because you're strong. You're hard because you're hurt. And you've learned to survive with it, to fake strength, to keep moving, to lead while bleeding. But survival is not the same as healing. And listen to me. What you don't heal, you pass on. What you don't confront becomes your character. What was done to you can become what you do to others. But here is the radical truth. God doesn't heal what you hide. He heals what you bring into the light, not when you perform. Not when you impress, but when you finally drop the act and bring your brokenness before Him like a child holding out shattered pieces, saying, I don't know how to fix this. You don't have to be the strong one with God. You just have to be real. The cross is not a monument for good men. It's a hospital for the wounded. It's the place where your trauma gets traded for truth, where your shame gets met with mercy, where the voice in your head that says, you're not enough, gets silenced by the voice that says, you are my son, a brother, it's time to heal. The enemy has convinced you to bury what broke you, but God is calling you to bring it out and watch Him redeem it. Your greatest pain could become someone else's breakthrough. Your deepest wound could become your greatest weapon. So no more silence, no more pretending, no more managing the limp. It's time to bring the wound to the one who still bears his. Because by his wounds, you are healed. The world is telling you to drop the weight. Don't commit. Don't feel too much. Stay detached. Chase ease, chase comfort, chase whatever numbs the ache. But you weren't born for ease. You weren't made to be weightless. You were created to carry. Young man, you were made to shoulder something holy. Responsibility, integrity, honor, sacrifice, not just for yourself, but for your future wife, your children, your brothers, your bloodline. And yes, the weight feels heavy, because it's supposed to. You're carrying something sacred. You were meant to lead with your life, not with your image. To walk through fire, not around it. To stand when others run. To fight even when no one claps for you. There is a radical standard for your life. And it doesn't come from culture. It doesn't come from your friends. It comes from the one who formed you in your mother's womb, with eternal purpose etched into your bones. God didn't anoint you to be passive. He didn't design you to drift. He set you apart to build. But listen, building takes sweat. It takes blood. It takes saying no to good things so you can say yes to God things. And this world is trying to convince you that masculinity is toxic. But real masculinity doesn't abuse. It protects. It doesn't dominate. It lifts. It doesn't retreat. It rises. You were created in the image of a God who carried your weight to the cross. And now he's saying, son, it's your turn. Pick up the mantle. Pick up the calling. Pick up your cross and follow me. And the moment you do, something shifts. Your back straightens. Your voice changes. You stop asking, what do I feel like doing? And you start asking, what was I born to do? You stop chasing shallow love, and you start building a legacy. Because boys run from weight, but men, real men, rise under it. And you, my brother, were made to rise. There is a war for your soul. And most men don't even realize they're on the battlefield. Because the enemy doesn't come with a sword anymore. He comes through screens, through shame, through silence. He doesn't need to kill you to win. He just needs to keep you distracted, to keep you numbing instead of fighting, to keep you scrolling instead of rising, to keep you pacified with porn, comfort, and counterfeit love. But hear me, you were born for battle, not escape. God wired something in you that longs to conquer, not just women, not just bank accounts, but darkness. You were made to push back hell, to stand in the gap, to become the man the devil wishes you'd never find. But purity, it's not just about sex, it's about vision. You can't walk in power when your soul is polluted. You can't lead others if you can't lead yourself. And this isn't about being perfect. This is about being awake. Because when you choose purity, you are declaring war. War against the generational curses your father never broke. War against the culture that says, do what feels good. War against the inner voice that says, you'll always be a slave to this. No, you are not a slave. You are a son. And the power you need, it doesn't come from within. It comes from above. The same spirit that raised Jesus from the dead lives in you, not to help you cope, but to help you conquer. You don't need another motivational quote. You need to get on your knees and let God burn away what's killing you. Because the real you, the anointed, called, dangerous you, is hidden behind layers of compromise. And it's time to come out. It's time to stop retreating, to stop just managing sin, to stop walking in half light. The world doesn't need another lukewarm man. It needs you set on fire. Because this battle, it's not just about you. It's about your future wife, your kids, your legacy, your calling, and the generations tied to your obedience. So ask yourself, are you going to be a slave to your urges or a son who walks in power? The radical battle is here, and it's not for the faint of heart, but you were made for war. Your life is not small. You've been told you're just another man, another body in a crowd, another broken story in a broken generation. But God doesn't speak insignificance. He speaks destiny. He speaks kingdom. He speaks eternity, and He speaks it through you. Because here's the truth. Every yes you give to God sends shockwaves into generations you'll never see. When you say yes to purity, your sons will rise without the chains you had to break. When you say yes to healing, your daughter will never have to beg a broken man to love her. When you say yes to discipline, your grandchildren will walk on foundations you never had. When you say yes to surrender, a future you can't even imagine gets unlocked. This life, it's not about you. And that's what makes it radical. The enemy wants you self-focused, self-consumed, stuck in the loop of me. But God is calling you higher, to live for something bigger, to be the man who ends cycles, to be the one who starts legacies. You don't need to go viral. You don't need to be famous. You just need to be faithful. Because the greatest men in history didn't seek the spotlight. They carried the weight of obedience when no one was watching. No one will clap when you choose prayer over porn. No one will throw a party when you choose accountability over isolation. No one may see the tears you cry on your bedroom floor. But He sees, and heaven takes note. Because heaven doesn't celebrate performance. It celebrates obedience. Young man, the radical life is not safe. It's not soft. It's not always loud. But it is holy. It is weighty. And it is glorious. So choose it. Say yes. Say yes when it's hard. Say yes when you're afraid. Say yes when no one else around you understands. Say yes when it costs you something. Because that's when it counts. Because your yes could echo through eternity. Could rewrite a bloodline. Could save a marriage before it even begins. Could awaken sons you haven't met. Could unleash heaven into a world drowning in hell. So brother, don't settle for a small life. Say yes. Brother, if your heart is burning right now, don't ignore it. That's not hype. That's not emotion. That's God knocking on the door of your soul. Some of you have been waiting for a sign. This is it. This moment. This message. Not because I said it, but because He's calling you. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to say yes. Yes to healing. Yes to purpose. Yes to becoming the man you were born to be. Not next year. Not after you get your life together. Now. Right here. Right now. And if this word hit your spirit, if it exposed the pain, the hunger, the fight in you, then I want you to do one thing. Drop a comment. Tell me your name. Tell me you're saying yes. Let this be your first step into freedom. Share this video with a brother who's hurting. You have no idea what battle he's in. This could be his lifeline. Like this video, not for me, but to push this message into the algorithm. The more it spreads, the more men wake up. And subscribe, because we're building a movement of men who refuse to live shallow, hollow lives. Men who carry weight. Men who break curses. Men who burn for God. This isn't just a sermon. It's a call to arms. I'll see you in the comments. I'm praying for you, and I'm believing that your yes could change everything. Let's build this together. Let's rise. Radical price. Radical life. Subscribe now.